Hello and welcome. Welcome to your $1 billion Body. This show that is good for your body. This is the premium show where you come to get the healthy tidbits on how to take care of your body. So I'm saying a very big welcome from the studio today. We are reaching you from Victoria Island, the head office of Salad Masters, who are our premium sponsors for this day. And we are glad that they are here to bring us to you. Now, with me here in the studio is a profound and beloved nutritionist that has agreed to grace our screen this afternoon to tell us more about the dangers of carbohydrates in our daily diets. So she is.
So my name is Fola Shade Babatunde. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you all know, today, our topic for today is the dangers of carbohydrates, or what we call for short, the carbs. For today, we are going to dig into what these carbs is all about, whether we actually do need it, or if we do, in what quantity, or can we totally eliminate carbohydrate from our diet in order to avoid some of the diseases we know consuming too much of it brings. Now, let me do this intro for you so that we can take it from there. Now, what are carbohydrates? You would ask. Fine. Carbohydrates are what can be called, they are just sugars, starch, and fibers found in fruits, grains, vegetables, and milk products. People don't even know that even milk and dairy products, they contain carbohydrates. They do. Your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts, and your grains, all of them contain carbohydrates, but in various quantities. Now, carbohydrate is one of the basic foods that we eat, and it is an important part of a healthy diet if you want to eat healthy. And like we always advocate in this program, your $1 billion body, your health is our business. So, these carbohydrates are largely made up of three molecules. One is carbon, two is hydrogen, and the third is oxygen. These are what makes up the carbs. Now, before I go on further, I would like to call on Paula Shade to give us her own definition of carbohydrates.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're
You've
welcome.
done so much. So I just want to add to what you have said
Okay,
that carbohydrates are one of the major macronutrients that are needed by the body. And
that's right.
so there is no way we can survive without carbohydrates. And so they are very, very important in our diet. So, and like you said, the chemical composition, which contains the carbohydrate, the carbon, sorry, the hydrogen and the oxygen.
That's
And
right.
basically the types, we have the simple sugars, the sugar, the fiber, and also the starch, with are the major three,
Classification.
yes, that we should look at. Although there are other classification,
Very,
and
yes.
so that's where we have the simple and the complex carbohydrate. We
That's
also have
right.
the what's it called, the refined and the O carbohydrates.
And the
So
dense
yeah,
carbohydrates,
yes, all
they
that. So
vary
but
a lot.
basically, we have sugars, we have the starch and the fiber, which we'll touch on as we move.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. So you heard it coming from the horse's mouth. That is the mouth of the nutritionist here. Now over to me. Let us do now, like she said, and I agree. There are various classifications of carbohydrate, but for today, we are going to go with just three simple classifications. The first one is the one that we call the starch or the beige carbs. Beige is the color. Beige is the coloring now. The second one is the sugar or the white carbs. You already know what I mean by this one. And then the last but not least is the third one, which is the fiber or the green carbs. Now, this fiber or green carbs are also called resistant starch. Now, let's dive into it. What are the or what makes up the starch or the beige carbs? Now, the starch carbs are the macro molecules of simple sugars. Now, simple sugars, it starts with maybe like glucose. Now, from glucose, you have another one. You have the disaccharides, and then polysaccharides, which make up the starch. Now, let's not go too scientific. Starch is made up of what? The class of food that fall into starch is number one, potato. Two, rice. Pastas. Your pastas can be your spaghettis, your noodles, your macaroni, all of that. And then you have corn, peas, all of them contain starch, but they might not all contain it in the same quantity, but they all contain starch. And so these are what we call the starch or beige carbs. Now, coming to the white or sugar carbs, those are the refined carbs that we know. The white cube of sugar you use in the morning to make your tea, it falls under this classification. You have the white bread, you have your biscuits, you have your cookies, you have your cherry pies, you have your popcorn. Milk is also in this classification. Not because it's white, but it's under the white or sugar carbs. Another one is all the sugary and fizzy drinks we have. They are also contained in this one. Now, the last but not the least is the fiber or green carbs. By the name green carbs, you already know that this group must contain the vegetables. Yes, all the veggies are here. But you can have the broccolis, the carrots, all of them are here. Can you imagine that? Carrots also contains carbs. Yes, it does. And then you have also beans, oat, that's in your oatmeal, and nuts and seeds, cereals. All of them are what we call the green carbs. And these are actually very good sources of carbs because we call them resistant carbs. So as we move along, we will know why they are called resistant starch. Now, why, like she said, people are saying that carb is too much. You have to do low carb diet and all. And here again, we are also saying that carbs are an important part of a healthy diet. Now, if they are important parts of a healthy diet, let's go deeper and see actually what does carbohydrates do for the body. First of all, carbohydrates are the main source of energy for the body. Yes. As a matter of fact, the brain does not utilize any other form of energy except glucose. Yes, you heard me right. So the main thing carbohydrates do to the body, they give energy to the body. So for people who want to totally eliminate carbs from their diet, you are not really healthy because without energy, I mean, you're you're not
Yes.
yeah. So that is not how to do it. Nobody is advised to totally eliminate carbs from their diet. No, it's not done. Another one is carbohydrates are also sources of energy, like I said before, for the brain. Actually, brain doesn't utilize because when there's low carbs in the bloodstream, the other like muscle tissues and fat tissues, they can also like break down fat and oil. They can break down like protein to you use as energy for the carb, or maybe if you've not eaten, for you to go and have a meal. But the brain doesn't actually utilize fat and oil or protein as a source of energy, just glucose. So now anybody who is starving themselves of good carbs, you're not doing your brain any good. Even the it's still an energy source for the kidneys, the heart, muscles, and all of that. Another one is that carbohydrates contain fiber. That is the fiber or the green carbs I mentioned earlier. And let me retake the types of carbohydrates under this because it's very important. We know we have beans in this group. That is the fiber or green carbs. We have beans, we have broccoli, we have cereal, we have oats, nuts, and seeds. This type. Now, this is what the fiber does. The fiber aids in the digestion of food. How does it do that? Now, when the food is eaten and it's being broken down, it passes through the alimentary canal or digestive system until it gets to the large intestine, where we call the guts. Now, the fiber contained in the carbohydrates here now acts as food for the guts because the guts contains bacteria. They're there. The gut bacteria now feeds on those fibers. And when it feeds on those fibers, now that's makes you and keeps you healthy, because those bacteria need to be fed, and all our refined sugars and all don't feed
Yeah.
those bacteria. So most of the time we call foods that contain such fibers and the food for bacteria, we call them prebiotics, and this carbohydrate provides it. Another one that fiber, another use of fiber in the body is that it makes you feel full. Yes, if you eat food that contains lots and lots of fiber, you can say for like 6 hours stretch, you don't feel hungry. Yes, that's what it does. So it prevents you from eating and binging and snacking. When you eat food with fiber, you feel fulfilled and feel filled up for a long time. So that is one of the uses of fiber. So those of you who are on a weight loss diet, you are advised to increase your intake of fiber because it makes you like fuller for most parts of the day. And last but not the least is that fibers in our carbohydrate also keeps the level of cholesterol in check. And like we have done here, I think we have done cholesterol in this program before. So if you want to know the dangers it poses to your health, I advise you to please go check out our YouTube, one of our previous YouTube videos, to check what cholesterol can do, the damage it can do to your heart, to your blood vessels, and the whole body at large. So that is it. I just did the uses of carbs to the body. So the uses of carbs cannot be overemphasized. We really do need it in our diet every day. So
Thank you for that. Really, I think it's one of the things that we really need to help people understand about the uses of carb in the body.
yes,
Helping, so there's so many people out there that think it's a no carb thing. Well, there's so much misinformation out there, really. And
yeah.
so it's very, very important. And I just want to, take us back a bit to the sugar, the classification that you did.
Yeah.
And so, there's another classification where we sugars are being classified as once is the molecule. So now we're going a bit back to science, talking about the monosaccharides. And so usually the ones that have two molecules and the single ones are classified as simple sugars. Sugars. And so that's where we're looking at the table sugar. We're looking at glucose. So the glucose, the fructose, and the what's it called, the galactose. And all this combination, and that's why milk actually falls in that also, because in milk you find lactose that is made up of glucose and galactose. And so that's where we have it.
So for lactose is a disaccharide.
Yes, it's a disaccharide. Yes, disaccharide, and it's found in milk. It's majorly found in milk.
That's right.
And so for the starch also, so when we look at the starch and we look at fiber, we find out that there are some foods that fall into the two categories. And so when you look at starch we have, it's just why we call it starch is because it has a lot of glucose molecules. Yes. And so it takes time before it breaks down. At the end of the day, when the starch breaks down, it breaks down to glucose.
That's right.
So that's why, but then it takes a longer time before it does that. Yeah. We also, in most food that contains starch, we also have the ones that have the fiber. And so fibers are indigestible by the human body.
That's
and
right.
So, for example, the oats you mentioned, as much as fiber, also it contains the starch in it also. And so that's why it's advised that for food that contains fiber, we should do more. So the idea is that once you're eating your carbohydrate food, having the knowledge of which one is simple or which one is complex would make it easy, really, for you to know, okay, what should I combine in my plate in making my meal? So that it's not like you won't do the simple sugars, but you have to find the right combination so that you can get the best out of carbohydrates to improve your health. So if you're on a weight loss, like you said, the weight loss thing, it's not like you won't do. A lot of people don't even know vegetables contain carbohydrates. So you find people doing vegetables and they say, well, I'm not doing carbohydrates. And then they tell you it contains carbohydrates. So it's very important that they know. Yes, they know this. Yes.
Fine. Please, from what you just said, I would like you now to tell them what kind of carbs do you combine together? Do you combine the monosaccharides together to have a meal, or do you do like the starch, disaccharide, monosaccharide kind of starch in one meal? Which one is the best? You are the nutritionist, so put us through. How do we do lunch? Let's say, for instance, I want to do lunch. I want eba. I'm an African girl. I want to do eba, okay? And with the eba, I like a frizzy drink, sugary drink to wash it down, like we do here, okay? And then I might want maybe like, let's say, Scotch egg at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Is it combinable?
Mm.
Is it advisable? If not, why?
So really, the first thing, I think we should just avoid going into the mono so that we don't just get people confused with the
Okay, fine.
monosaccharides and all that. So let's
Okay.
leave, put the science on the side. But
Okay.
basically, I think we can go with the simple and the complex carbohydrate. And
Okay.
so I'm going to use two classifications. So one on the one hand, we are talking about the simple and the complex carbohydrate.
Okay, so we have simple here and we have complex.
I also want
Beautiful.
us to understand what we call the refined carbohydrate and the whole carbohydrate. So that when we
Carbohydrate.
talk about the whole grains, but then we also have the refined grains. That's where white bread falls, because the grains have been processed, and so the
Okay.
fiber has been removed, and most of the nutritious aspect have been removed from the grains.
Yeah.
And so that's why we say they are refined. So you
Okay.
can have a refined, a product that is still also complex
Yes.
carbohydrate. So usually what is best is that you have more of complex. So in the complex carbohydrate, for example, you have your rice,
Yes.
the whole grain, you have the ones that have the fiber, you have vegetables. So for example, you're doing a plate of rice. It shouldn't just be just rice. You can
Okay.
add your vegetables to it, and
Okay.
it makes a better meal. So a lot of time you have people saying, "Oh, do whole grain brown rice," but the reality
Yes.
is that some people don't even like the brown rice.
Okay.
Especially your father type that we have.
That's right.
People don't even want to do it. Some don't even like the smell at all.
I don't like it.
You don't like it.
I don't like it.
So I love to advise people
Yeah.
that once whatever it is you have, and because reality, not everybody's pockets is the same.
That's
and some
right.
people can't even afford the white rice.
Yeah.
So if it's the white rice you can do, ensure you add vegetables to it.
Okay.
Vegetables contains fiber also, and it
Beautiful.
contains a lot of vitamins and minerals. So
Beautiful.
rather than just do plain rice and stew, add vegetables. Vegetables doesn't have to be the leafy ones alone.
Okay.
It can be carrot. Carrot is classified as vegetables.
Yes, it is.
It can be cabbage. It can be spinach. You can steam greens and then add it to it. So just make your food colorful and more interesting.
Wow.
That way. But if you can afford the whole grain, the brown rice, it's also best to do it.
Okay.
But then you can still add more fruits and more vegetables to it, so that you are sure that you're getting the best out of it. So that is fine. But when we now look at the refined sugar or the product, because the fiber, which is very nutritious, has been taken out, and some of the other minerals and vitamins have been taken out. So majorly you just have more like the starch only left there. And so because of this, we know that this can cause what we call the spike in sugar. So easily they get digested in the body, and you may not even feel full, because like you mentioned, one of the advantages of fiber, the uses of carb, is to make you feel full.
That's
and
right.
so once the fiber has been removed, so you may not feel full, and then you have to eat more of that.
Okay.
And so at the end of the day, you taking more than what your body needs, because you're trying to fill your tummy at that time.
That's
at the end of the day, it may make you add more weight, or not make you even lose the weight you're trying to lose. Yeah.
Okay. And then open you up for some health problems like diabetes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. That was very insightful. Now you have seen it. You don't need to do green. Some people really don't like green vegetables. You can do carrots, you can do spinach and all. Those are still classified as vegetables. And even though they contain carbohydrates, like we earlier mentioned, but it's in lower quantity and it's very combinable with the starchy kind of carbohydrate like rice and yam and all of that. Okay, fine. So today, don't forget that our topic is the dangers of carbs. Now, why would we now said that carbs are good for us? They give us energy, they make us feel full, they control cholesterol levels in the blood, and now. Now, why then is it bad? As a matter of fact, many people eat carbohydrate wrongly. That is another one. Many people also consume it in very high amounts of quantities. That's what we frown at. And then the one that we have been talking about, the sugar or the white carbs or the refined carbs, those ones that they have been to the factory, they've been processed, and the fiber and other vitamins that it contains has been removed in order to manufacture it and make it in some type of way more appealing to the consumer. So those are the carbs that we call, in quotes, the wrong carbs. Wrong. Because if you have it in large amounts of quantity, it is going to adversely affect your health. Now, why do we preach this? Why won't we let it rest? Because people know. You know why? People tend to consume bad or this wrong carbs. One, because they are everywhere. They really are everywhere. If I just feel like I'm hungry and I pop out now, I'm going to get, I must get a place where they sell biscuits. I must get a place, this is Nigeria,
a bottle
with
of soft drink,
a soft drink easily. Before, for me to get a fruit juice, I will have to go the extra mile to get it. Now, this is Nigeria. We do have street foods on the streets. We have the buns and the yes, and the puff puff and all of that. The ring, the donuts and all. They are easily very available. And then the galas and all of that. So those are the kind of things that even if you're in a car and there's a hold up, those are the kind of things you just pop out of the window and grab and fill your tummy while you wait for the traffic to clear up. So that's why we preach. It is everywhere. Another reason why we talk about it is that the refined carbohydrates, they're actually cheap.
Yeah.
With 100 naira, I can get
a loaf of bread.
Oh my God.
Easily.
I can get that. That is white bread, you know, and it's already refined. Okay. I can get with 100 naira, I can get buns. I can get Coke. I can get all of that. It's this cheap. But I don't think I've never seen anywhere where they sell salad 100 naira. Prepared salad. I've not seen. So you see why people tend to tilt towards those kind of food. Another reason is that junk foods, for whatever reason, they are sweet. They are meant to be sweet. That is the thing. That is what the manufacturer wants you. Because it's sweet, you keep coming back, and because the fiber in it has been removed, what it does to you is that you're always looking out for the next food. No matter how much you consume of it, you keep wanting more, because you in as much as there's food in you, you don't feel fulfilled. You don't have that feeling of fullness in you, because the fiber in what you have been consuming has been removed. So nothing fills you up again. So you keep eating and eating and eating. And if nothing is done, obesity is on the way. Diabetes mellitus is on the way. Arthritis is on the way. And then so many health havocs that come with this kind of eating when it remains unchecked. So that is the main thing today. Why we are here, so that you know that these foods are there and they are available and they are cheap and they are not so good for your health. Once you know that, you now know how to control what you eat, because I don't think that there's anybody who will know that a plate of food is poisoned and still eat it, no matter how hungry you might be. So please, the processed carbs might not be exactly poisoned, but over time, it acts in a poisonous way to your system. And the system starts to complain, because now maybe you've been eating it for a long time and you listen to this program and like, oh no, I've been eating it, I've been eating biscuits all my life, nothing happens to me. Your body has been compensating. And you don't want to push your body to that extent where it says, oh, I'm tired, I can't do this anymore. So that's why this program, your $1 billion body, is here to let you know that enough. It is not late to start eating right now. Okay.
Yeah, it is not late to start eating right now. I really like that. And I must say that in my the years of experience working as a registered dietitian, I found out that a lot of people, when you tell them, oh, they come to you, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to do this, they say, I don't eat, I only drink. And then when you start, you start doing the food analysis, okay, I don't eat.
Oh my God.
And I tell people, okay, so a bottle of soft drink, for example, has about 210 kilocalories.
Oh my
God. It has 54 grams of sugar.
Did you hit
54 grams of sugar? Yes.
Now wait, let's break it down. Let us break it down, because this is breaking news. So 54 grams of sugar.
Yes.
Please, how many cubes of sugar do you think this is?
So I think it's about 10 or more than that.
10 or more. For just one.
Yes, a bottle of
soft drink.
And the recommended intake of added sugar per day, because the truth is that we still have the allowance for the added sugar.
Okay.
And so the recommended for women, for example, is 25 grams or less.
25 grams
or less.
While just a bottle contains 75.
That's like
twice
54. 54. So that's
54
twice of what you
what?
as a woman, and even for kids. And for men, it shouldn't be more than 37 per day. And
Okay.
then we have people who drink 2 bottles, like for every meal,
Exactly.
they take a bottle of drink.
And that is not the only source of refined sugar you're going to have in your body for
because
that day.
bottle of drink will be taken with either a donut
Or something.
or biscuit or something.
Not counting the white bread you've eaten for breakfast.
So the moment you now start breaking down, and then you realize that, okay, so I'm even doing for some people, the calorie intake is even from the snacks is even more than what they should take in a day. And
the food is not counted.
It's not even counted, the food, yes. And so this is where people begin to take it more than, and that is very important, that even reading nutrition label, it's very, very, very important. You don't just eat all these things, especially for kids. And I tell people, paying attention to your nutrition, like learning about your nutrition, is very cheap, really, compared to when something goes wrong and you have to start treating these conditions.
That's right.
You know, the cost is more, it's not only financial cost, really, the emotional cost, everything comes in. Your family members also would have to take part in that. And they have to pay their own price and pay it. It's very important that we, as much as possible, learn more about our diet and know how carbs, it's not like you can do carbs, really, but know how best carbs can work for you to improve your health.
Beautiful. So on that note, I will just dive into, because she just mentioned it, so let's just deal with it right now. The health hazards of eating carbs wrongly. What are the health hazards? We've been going through it, coming and let's look at it properly. Now, number one, for me, or for at least for young people who binge eat junk food, the shawarmas and the pizzas and the hot dogs, when we do maybe like movie nights, when we hang out with friends, these are usually easy to grab food. Popcorn. Oh my God, the amount of sugar. I don't even think you need to be health conscious to know that popcorn sugar is too much. It's too much.
One that has that, of course, the other, healthier
popcorns, of course.
The one that has a lot of sugar.
The one that has a lot of sugar is no. Okay, so the health hazard of eating the wrong kind of carbs and the wrong quantity of carbs right now is number one, obesity. Yes, obesity. We have already in this program, we have looked at obesity exclusively on this program. So if you are interested to know the health hazards of obesity, please go to our previous YouTube page and check it out. Obesity, when you're predisposed to obesity, it's not just that you're fat, because people will see me. No, that's one of it. Another one of it is that when you're obese, you become clumsy. Of course, I've never met an active obese person. No, I've never met. Another one is you have poor self-esteem. Yeah, and that's not healthy for your overall health. The self-esteem needs to be healthy. You don't need to have a poor health, because it invariably takes its toll on your health.
Yes.
Because I have a friend who yesterday just came down with panic attacks. Yes, panic attacks. So it is still a consequence of how she looks, how people perceive her, and all of that. So she has anxiety when she has a function to attend, and invariably it can start manifesting as a panic attack. So was rushed to the hospital. So we don't want that for any of our viewers. Another one also, obesity causes a whole lot of problems from head to toe, but most significantly, it causes you heart problems. Another one is also arthritis, because why? The bone now has to carry massive amounts of flesh that it needs to carry. And then at one time, the bone starts groaning out, I'm tired, I'm tired. So that it manifests as arthritis and osteoarthritis and all of that. So as you can see, this is a normal average 70 kg man depicted here in this picture. And look at the bone. Just this singular thing, even though it has tensile strength, you see, this is an average person. See the amount of, this is the muscle mass. From here to here is the muscle mass, and from here to here. Imagine adding extra for this bone to carry. It can only carry it for some time, and it will invariably break down. Another one, like we said, is diabetes mellitus, especially type 2. Now, when you have diabetes already, you know that you're having blindness or eye problems. Diabetes is one of the causes, one of the major causes of blindness in this country. Yes, it is. Another one is that when you have diabetes, you have kidney issues as well. See, the name diabetes is not just like I'm suffering from, okay, I have diabetes, I have one singular disease.
The
No,
complications.
how much it comes with, it will affect your heart, your kidney, your lungs, everywhere. And overall, it lowers your immunity. Diabetes mellitus is a disease that compromises your immunity. So during this COVID era, anybody who had a diabetic relative is overly worried, because when COVID comes, because already the immunity is lowered by diabetes, COVID now finishes up the job. So you see the effect of not eating right. If only we can eat right, a whole lot of the problems we encounter will be solved. Another one of not eating carbs right is another problem it causes is infertility. Yes, there's ongoing research on infertility. And not just me, I would like her to also talk on that infertility. Because as a nutritionist, we now advise patients who come to the hospital, when you're coming for a case of infertility, you've been trying to conceive and you have not achieved that. With your husband, you have married and you've been having regular uninterrupted sex for more than 1 year. You don't just, we give you, you are required to have a team of doctors, counselors, and nutritionists as well, because what you eat matter a lot. It affects your fertility and profile in a long way. So I would like her to also have a very big input on that. Okay. Now another one is another infertility. Another one also is hospital bills. Yes, as simple as that. Now, there's so many things you need your money to do. Now, because you have this insatiable love for ice cream, insatiable love for soft drinks. I know a medical doctor who is addicted to a soft drink brand. A day cannot pass without her taking at least 2 bottles. And she knows, and she knows she's addicted and she wants help. It's like there's something in it.
Sugar has addictive, what's it called?
Yes.
So that's what happens to a lot of people, yes.
Exactly. So the sugar is, the more you consume, the more you want it. So if you don't curb it early and it becomes a habit, so you're dependent on that. Okay? So this makes you, if you're now eating and you develop so many things, you will be frequenting the hospital. And you know that it is not a joke to be frequenting the hospital. First of all, even before anything is done, you have to pay your consultation. That's it. You have to pay for consulting a doctor. So these are family money, these are personal monies that you could have used for some other pressing issues. And then now you're now using it to cure something that is self-inflicted. Yes, it is just a lifestyle modification, and you have it all together. So on that note, let me hand it over to our in-house nutritionist so that she will tell us more on how wrong eating of carbohydrates can affect your fertility profile.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
You should really, done well. And I just want to say that presently, right now, I think 2 days ago was the World Heart Day.
That's right.
And so, heart disease is the top killer in the world right now.
It is
the top killer. And I came across a research recently from the International Federation of Diabetes, where 1 in 2 people who have diabetes don't even know they have it.
Oh my God.
And then 1 in 11 people have diabetes between age 20 to 79. So it's even no longer before. Gone are the days when we think it's just the older people that have diabetes. Now,
you see the age range
even
now,
more than 20 years old, young kids are now coming down with this issue, and all this linked to lifestyle issues. And so it's very, very important that you don't want your heart. You have just one heart. Nothing should go wrong with it. And if something goes wrong, I like the fact that you said. I think you're saying that once this sets in, that time you think you don't have, you would create that time. Some people will tell you, I don't
That
have
is it.
money for the food. I don't have time. I'm too busy
Yeah.
to pay attention to my diet, to eat healthily, to do the salad thing and all that. And once the very day something goes wrong and you get admitted into the hospital, and you can't even function.
That is it.
And the savings that you have will all go for
For
healthcare.
your health.
And if it has gone bad, diabetes, for example, can even cause you to lose your body parts.
No
And
matter.
so money can never buy that back.
Yeah.
The job you think you want to do, easily they'll replace you. I tell you,
Of course.
easily within the week they'll
Did
replace
you hear
you.
that?
And
Did
so
you hear
in
that?
terms of obesity and infertility too, it's very important. I like the fact that you said once the somebody who has infertility issues come to the hospital, the first that team, either the dietitian or the professional nutritionist, have to be in their team.
That's right.
The first thing that is recommended is you have to, if you're overweight, except if you're not overweight, then we have to start looking at other areas.
Correct.
But then nutrition is even still important because of the vitamins and nutrients that are
you
key
need.
to fertility.
That's right.
But if you're obese, you have to first try as much as possible to lose that weight. Even having just 5% weight loss bring a lot of health benefit back to you. And all this is due to when you consume more than what your body needs, more than what your body needs. And this is what happens at the end of the day. You're taking in so much. A lot of people drink their calories, drink the sugars.
Exactly.
Drinking.
Exactly.
Even the packed fruit juice.
Yeah.
Like a lot of sugar in some of this.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it's very important. We need to pay attention. If you're having infertility issue, your weight is one of the things you also need to pay attention to. You need to bring your weight down, cut the excess weight down so that you can get to, even better, you respond more to the treatments that you're given once you're able to drop the excess weight that you have. So I also want to mention, as you said, that as much as it's important that you may be on the big side, especially when you said the self-esteem, because I've also had clients who work with people who, because of there's something we call body shaming.
Yeah.
And so people are not, and it leads to the low self-esteem issue.
Yes.
And so
even suicide.
Yes, suicide.
Even
And
suicide.
so I like to say a lot of times that, yes, it is one thing for you to admit that you need to work on your health, your weight.
Yes.
But please, do not look down on yourself. Your weight is not your self-worth.
No.
Please, your weight is not your self-worth.
You're more than your weight.
You're more than your weight. As much as you need, all you need to do is agree that you need to do something. You need to improve your health and continue doing it. But please, don't let people body shame you. Don't even be a victim of that, because it causes a lot of issues. And I just wanted to mention it so that nobody becomes a victim of that. All you need you to understand is that you need to work on your weight and your diet so that you can get to drop the excess weight, but you are not
healthier
and make it healthier.
In this program, we are all about your health, the best for your health. Now, let me throw more light on how infertility or how consuming bad carbs can affect your fertility profile. First of all, they said too much carbohydrates in your body will give off too much energy, because carbohydrates, the body takes carbohydrate in as calories, and calories are the energies you expand. And when you consume too much carbohydrates without having any way to work it out, now this energy is turned inwards into the body and goes around damaging cells. And the cells that are stored in the body, one of them is the sperm cells for the male and the ovum or egg for the females. They're all there in the body. Now, the eggs and the sperm, they have internal clock or battery that beats to regulate them at their optimal health. Now, when the environment around them is charged with so much energy because you've taken so much carbs, that internal battery or clock is being disrupted because there's energy flow and it's being disrupted, causing damages to the stored ovum and then the sperm cells. It has been proven to do so. And then it also causes more of male factor infertility. And this male factor infertility, it causes that men can actually be transferred to their offspring. Something that you were not created with, something that you were not born with, something that happened to you because you refuse to control what you should have, or you could, or you can control. So, the effect of bad carbs on fertility is much, but the beauty of it, like she said, is that all this can be controlled. All this can be controlled. We are now saying, we see viewers, I don't have time. You don't have time to take care of what you put inside you.
Of your health.
This is your $1 billion body. This body
The only one you've got.
is the only one you got.
You can get another job.
You can get any other thing. You don't. The worst part, we don't have spare parts for this body. When you have diabetes and they need to cut your feet, it is gone. It is gone
for life.
For life. When you have every other thing, all those things that you're giving, that's your maximum attention to the detriment of your body. They are things that are replaceable. But that body that is indisposable, you can't dispose this body without. I used to tell most of my patients, clients, and friends alike that you see people shell out a huge amount of money to buy cars. Oh, Lamborghini, Maserati, Lincoln, all of that. They're all good though. They're all fine. Yes, if you can afford it, by all means, do. But in as much as you're doing that, please pay attention to your body, because this body is a vehicle that is carrying us through life. So in this life, if you damage your own vehicle, somebody else will enter your Maserati. As simple as that. Somebody else will enter your Lincoln. Somebody else will inherit your house, your beautiful house that you are building. Some people are on site morning till night. What is this contractor doing? How many cements do we have here? And you've not eaten. They'll tell you, you've not eaten, and you have ulcer. No, don't worry, we'll eat later. Really? Yes. Really? And even when you need to eat, you hustle anything on the streets, any kind of food does. And you eat it and you grab and go. Yes. Grab and go. We have the food that we call grab and go now. You grab and go. To whose detriment?
In fact, I always like to say that your diet affects every other areas of your life.
Of your life.
Every other area. So the World Health Organization defined health as a total state of well-being, not the absence of diseases, not malaria, not that, I didn't have malaria, I'm fine. No.
Yes.
Once your social health is not fine, you're not fine. Once your mental health is not fine, you're not fine. And all of these things, the food affects. We just talked about self-esteem. It's a mental issue. And it's because you couldn't manage your food well. And I also like to say that there are some other conditions because sincerely, I have worked with people who are really trying to, control what they taking, and of course there's some other medical conditions that can make you add weight, for example, and then some medications. So you find some people struggling, and this is why it's very important that you work with people who are professionals, work with doctors, work with dietitians, work with professional nutritionists, so that you can identify the main reason why some of the things you are trying. Some people have been doing so many ways. God knows the number of diets they have gone on.
They've gone through.
True. And so it's very important to work with people who are professionals. They can help you more to identify what is the reason or the cause behind what is not working for you. It's very, very important.
Exactly.
And a lot of people will say, it's costly. Compared to the cost of your health, really. I keep saying it because people don't pay attention to it. And it's just like you having a business, like you want to start a business now.
Yeah.
Trust me, you won't just put your money in anything.
That will squander your whole.
You would make your research. You would do all the findings before you put your money into that.
That's right.
So how come, even if you want to buy a dress, Dr. Dolly, I'm sure you won't just go and just buy any kind. You must be sure it's your size. The shoe is your
shape,
size,
my color,
the color you like,
all of that.
And this is all for body.
I can always remove it.
So what about that one going
you always carry? You can't remove your body. You can't go to the warehouse and change another part of it.
So it's just to encourage you all to pay more attention to your diet, and carb is part of what we're talking about because it's part of your diet.
In order to reiterate what we've also said, I want to bring our attention to something. One thing we don't know is that, or in as much as you furnish your house with some very lavish furnishings and everything, you just have it at the back of your mind that the most expensive bed in the whole world is a hospital bed. Yes. And you see, we can breathe air. We do it unconsciously. We don't know.
Oxygen is now.
But if you try to mess up and then land in the hospital and tell them that you want oxygen, you'll be on oxygen. That's when you know that it's actually very expensive, because you are being charged per hour. per hour you are on an oxygen machine, you're being charged. So why put yourself through all the hassle?
And at that time, anything they give you, you will eat. Do you know that? Because you just want to.
Someone on oxygen, you are not. You don't.
No. Maybe when okay, no.
You're not even eating.
Sorry, not the ones
candidates
not the one on
okay,
oxygen,
okay.
But at the time something goes on with your health, and you like gasping,
yeah,
you just want everything to be fine at that time. If you were asked to eat all those things you say you cannot eat,
you will.
You will at that time.
You will eat it.
You will.
So why make it? Why make
why
it a
wait
problem?
till that time?
Why
don't wait till that time when some of the damage
has been done and is irreversible?
Yes, irreversible.
Yeah,
so it's very, you know.
Yes. And then there's another who are consciously really trying to live healthy, but they still consume a whole lot of refined or white sugar in them. How is it done? I want to bring our attention that some manufacturers actually hide sugar in their products, unknown to the final consumers. Yes, there's a whole lot of sugars and refined carbs consumed by us, the end consumers, without being aware of it. So that's why we need to look at labels. It's very important when you look at labels, when you're buying stuff. Like, do you know that we have a great amount of sugar in toothpaste? Yes.
It's sweet.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, those are hidden sugars. You have it there. We still have great amounts of some like healthy meals or healthy dairy products like yogurt. Yogurt naturally isn't sweet. No, isn't sweet.
That's why you see the sweetened and unsweetened.
Yeah, on the unsweetened. Now, when you now tell me I want yogurt and you go for the sweetened one.
And even the unsweetened has carb already.
They already, some of them,
the natural carbs are in there because it's a new product, and so it has carb.
Some manufacturers still go to the unsweetened yogurt and then add sugar. Now, that is what we want to bring to our awareness. Right now, we had to leave, but it is time for us to really cap it for today. But don't mind, because tomorrow we're going to bring you the concluding or the wrap up of this beautiful program, where we'll now go into full details on what kind of carbs do we eat, how do we eat it, when do we eat it, and in what quantity do we eat it. And if you have to eat refined or sugary carbs once in a while, how frequent, how often, how dangerous to our health, and all of that. That is when we are going to wrap up today's program. But it has been lovely talking and sharing this with our viewers, and we'll be very glad to welcome any questions from you people, if there's any. Okay, from the information reaching us now, they said that there's no questions, but nevertheless, we want you to prepare all your questions about carbs, what you think is carbs, how you have been combining your own, why you have still been gone through several diet plans and programs and still you're not still losing weight, how you want to even prevent having all these complications of eating carbs the wrong way. We are very open to your inputs tomorrow, and we'll be very welcome to answer any of your questions. Okay. Right. Any last words to our viewers?
Thank you. This is not to scare you away from carbohydrates. We just want you to learn to build a healthy relationship with food. And so a step towards that is for you to learn about the major things you take into you. And carb is just one of the things we brought to you today. So please join us tomorrow as we talk further on this topic.
Okay. So from me, still remember that this is your favorite program, Your Billion Dollar Body, and my name is Dr. Dolly Mokage, and we are saying goodbye and God bless.